Ask the Doctor with Michael Lange begins in 30 seconds. Ask the Doctor with Michael Lange begins in 10 seconds.
When it comes to your health, are you seeing the check engine light come on more than normal? It's time to get under the hood. It's time for Ask the Doctor with Dr. Michael Lange. Sponsored by Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins. Dr. Lange is a board-certified optometric physician and certified nutrition specialist, helping people see and feel better through proper nutrition for 25 years. The doctor is in. Call now with your questions at 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. Here's your host, Dr. Michael Lange.
Okay, good morning and welcome to Ask the Doctor. I'm your host as usual, Dr. Michael P. Lange of the Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins. You're listening to Ask the Doctor. We broadcast, for 30 years now, or I should say we've been broadcasting for almost 30 years. I started hosting Ask the Doctor on a small AM station in Ocala, Florida, thanks to country Jim Kirk, rest his soul. And it has parlayed into a pretty large show. We're coast to coast now on multiple radio stations throughout the country and just about every big city or state. Plus, we're live video streaming all over the world via social media. Remember, this is a live call-in show, so no matter how simple or complicated the question is, we will try to answer it to the best of our ability. When I say we, it is myself, Dr. Michael Lange, and my co-host, Dr. Hall, who's an icon in the sports nutrition industry. So no matter how simple or complicated your question is, as long as it has to do with your vision, eye care, or a nutritionally related topic, it can be, what should you be consuming before you work out or after you work out to promote muscle growth and to lose fat? What vitamins are actually good for your retina? Is there a supplement that can lower intraocular pressure in your eye? Are you a candidate for LASIK surgery? If you have macular degeneration, is there a particular meal that may be good for you? So these are things that we talk about on this program and a lot more. I'm going to give you the phone. Remember, this is a live call-in show. It's 1-877-969-8600. That's 1-877-969-8600. Also, I'm not only a board-certified optometric physician, I'm also a certified nutritional specialist. Founded Lange Eye Care and Associates March 15th of 1993. We opened 14 locations in the great state of Florida, including the Lange Eye Institute. I hail from the Lange Eye Institute. It's a state-of-the-art eye care center in the Villages, Florida. We take care of just about every aspect of eye care, including major retinal surgery upstairs in the Lange Eye Institute with Dr. Michael Tolatino. He has his own practice upstairs at the Lange Eye Institute. The phone number for the Lange Eye Institute is 352-753-4014. That's 352-753-4014. You can learn more at drmichaellange.com. That's pretty simple. This website takes you to all my other websites, drmichaellange.com. But the main site to learn the most about nutrition and to order any of the supplements that Dr. Hall and I talk about on this program is called Fortifeye.com. Now, remember, we don't mark up things the typical 6-time markup. And I hate to say it, 10 to 12-time markup. A lot of these, big multi-level companies are doing a huge markup. Most of our stuff is not even doubled in price, okay? So check it all out at Fortifeye.com. That's Fortifeye, Fortifeye.com. And I'm going to give you the phone number for Fortifeye Vitamins twice before we start taking some calls and talking to Dr. Hall. The phone number for Fortifeye Vitamins is 866-503-9746. That's 866-503-9746. And also, Scuba Scott, Scoobs flew in for the boat races. We're having a boat race party over at my beach home on Clearwater Beach. The Nationals for the offshore boat race is tomorrow. Scoobs, thanks for coming in for the event. Say hello to everybody on the. You came in for moral support today, didn't you?
You're welcome, Doc. Glad to be here. It's been a long week, but won't miss the boat races for anything.
Yeah, so Scoobs is kind of like I'm dating myself. My Ed McMahon, remember the Johnny Carson show?
Yeah.
Ed McMahon would always chime in a little bit. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. Let's say good morning to the icon or the imperial emperor of sports nutrition, Dr. Richard Hall. Good morning, Richard.
Wow, that was some intro. And good morning, Scuba Scott. Glad to have you today. Good to see you. Good morning to everyone. I hope your Saturday is off to a great start. Sit down and relax for the next hour with us as we answer your questions about fitness, nutrition, eye care, whatever you want to talk about. You know, this is a listener-driven show. It's a talk show. You know, so we want to talk and answer the questions that you're interested in. So give us a call. Did you have breakfast this morning? I got to ask that. But if sitting down at breakfast is not on your list, how about a Fortifeye superfood smoothie or a Fortifeye protein shake? And as I do, I mix them both together. So I have the best of both worlds. Sounds like a good way to begin the day. And if you'd like some really great recipes too, by the way, nutritious, good tasting recipes, okay, check that same website that Dr. Lange just mentioned, fortifeye.com. We have all kinds of articles on there on it just runs the gamut on all supplements, eye care, and just all kinds of good things. But there's a big segment in there. Two things I want you to check out is reading labels. That's an article that I authored, and another one on there that is really it'll help you. It'll help you get you through the breakfast and those morning breakfast doldrums that you're in. Check out our recipes. There's some really good ones there, so I think you'll like it. Real quick, I've developed a segment on frequently asked questions of Dr. Lange and I. And, we only have an hour to run through our talk show. And sometimes we just don't get to those questions. And we like to. And, but I came up with a whole list. And so every week I'm going to try to hit one of these. And maybe it's on your list too. So today we're going to hit gluten-free diets. Should you? Shouldn't you? Is there a value to it? Is it as great as some people say it is, or really am I doing nothing? Stay tuned for that. Once we get the show underway and like that, I'll chime in and do a little segment on that for you too. So without further ado, let's get to that first caller, Dr. Lange. Back to you.
All right, let's open up the phone lines, 1-877-969-8600. 1-877-969-8600. You're listening to Ask the Doctors this morning. Dr. Michael Lange and Dr. Richard Hall. Remember, broadcasting coast to coast and live video streaming all over the world. Let's go to the first call of the morning. Bob, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, doctors. Good Saturday morning to you. Hope everybody's hunkering down for a potential hurricane. That's always fun.
Oh, yeah. The adrenaline's up a notch.
Okay. My question this morning is kind of piggyback on something that I asked a couple of weeks ago about nitric oxide. At that time, between both you and Dr. Hall, you said that nitric oxide only stays in the system 2 to 4 hours tops. I have come across a product, and I wanted to ask your opinion. The product has L-citrulline in it, L-arginine in it, glutathione, some green coffee beans extract, green tea leaf extract, turmeric root extract, tart cherry, blueberries, broccoli, kale, and some other stuff.
No beet juice, huh?
No beet.
Interesting. Yeah, the L-citrulline and the L-arginine are really the beneficial things in there that are helping to promote, nitric oxide. Keep going.
Okay. And then my question is, their suggestion is for 3 tablets at a one-time serving a day. And with with 3 at one time, after having talked with you gentlemen a couple of weeks ago, that's going to be spent in 4 hours. So, we have a lot of time that's uncovered.
Supplement. This is a supplement that increases the nitric oxide, and usually the ones are L-citrulline, L-arginine, beetroots, vitamin C, things like that. Is first thing in the morning. Believe it or not, your nitric oxide is lowest first thing in the morning, and we think that's why, since you have low morning nitric oxide, we think that's one of the reasons there's vascular events early in the morning. A lot of people have their stroke and their heart attack first thing in the morning, and one of the reasons for that is the nitric oxide level is very low. Remember, nitric oxide is it can help increase blood flow. It increases exercise performance. It can lower your blood pressure. It's heart healthy. There's a lot of studies that indicate it decreases the risk of cardiovascular disease, heart disease, stroke, even cognitive decline. There's some new studies that indicate this. And it does. In about 90 minutes, it wears off, all right, usually, give or take. But dietary nitrates from food take a lot longer. It takes 2 to 3 hours before it even starts to work. So when you consume foods like beets and carrots and celery, spinach, bok choy, even lettuce and arugula, watermelon, things like that, even dark chocolate and garlic, these also have dietary nitrates and they help produce nitric oxide. So you can eat those foods, Bob, throughout the day, all right, to get this benefit. But that supplement would be good either A, first thing in the morning when you wake up, or right before you work out. And that's why early morning workouts are good, because you take it right when you wake up, and it helps give you some energy and funnel the other nutrients to your muscle very quickly. So before you work out, after you work out is a good time. First thing in the morning, also before a stressful event. So, you're getting married, Bob. Well, you're already married, so you can't get married again. But any type of stressful event, you can take this ahead of time, and it can help reduce the stress. Remember, nitric oxide actually kind of cycles related to the light, to the natural light. And that's why you've been asleep and you haven't had any natural light. It's kind of like melatonin. It works similar. It has to do with your circadian cycle. And so the sleep cycles, that's one of the reasons that it's very low first thing in the morning. So I would not divide it into 3 divided dosages, because that would be such a small amount. You might not get the efficacy. I would take that supplement right before you work out, or right in the morning, right when you get up, and then start working or going about your business, and then eat some of those foods, like I said, throughout the day: the beets, the carrots, the celery, the spinach, the kale, the bok choy, lettuce, arugula, watermelon, garlic, dark chocolate, and you'll be good to go.
All right, gentlemen. Well, if this storm takes a left-hand turn, hope everybody stays safe. Have a good weekend on the road. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Bob. And thank you, Doc, for being on the radio with me. And we've got Robin in San Antonio, Texas, or San Antonio someplace. Robin, good morning.
Good morning. Texas is right.
All right. What can we do for you?
So in December, I bought my 7-year-old a pair of glasses because, come to find out, she has a pretty decent prescription. It's something like a +6 in one eye and +4 in the other. And now she's claiming she still can't read the board, but she was fine right after we got the glasses. Could her eyes have changed that fast?
And when did you get the glasses again? How long ago?
December, little less than a year ago.
And she's how old? 6?
7.
7? Absolutely. The eyes are changing dramatically. Chances are she's actually growing and her eyes are growing, and she probably, believe it or not, is getting less farsighted. So her eyes are probably improving, and her correction is probably overcorrecting her. See, she's farsighted, and if she's got too much plus power now, it's actually making her artificially nearsighted, causing vision to be blurry in the distance. But that's very normal at her age. What I would recommend, getting back to the optometrist or ophthalmologist and ask if they didn't already do this to have a cyclopleged exam. Cyclopleged exam. That's where they use a dilation drop that's a little bit stronger, lasts a little bit longer, but it totally takes the focusing ability out of play and tells the doctor truly what her prescription is, because these kids have a very powerful focusing ability, and they oftentimes during a regular eye exam over-focus their eyes. And so they could be, let's say hypothetically, a +10, but the refraction shows she's only a +6. So she could be undercorrected and need more power too. The only way to know is to do that cyclopleged exam. So ask them, say, look, I want a cyclopleged exam for my daughter.
Okay. So it is possible, in other words, that as she grows, her prescription will change rapidly.
And I think if my crystal ball that I'm looking in is right, I think she's overcorrected now, and I think she's going to need less plus power. But the only way to know definitively, have that drop put in her eye that cyclopleges the eye. That way they'll know definitively if she really got better, or if she's overfocusing her eyes. And that'll be a new prescription. And most insurances, well, it depends. I mean, a lot of times you have to pay cash for glasses. Most insurances will only pay for the lenses once a year. So just depending on how expensive it's going to be, is it going to hurt to wait, until December? Probably not. But call and find out first from the optometrist office if your insurance is going to cover it, because sometimes it's not it's just every calendar year, every January, and sometimes it's a year from when you were seen.
Okay.
And then
well, thank you very much.
Keep us posted.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Let us know how she does.
Will do.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right. You're listening to Ask the Doctor. Dr. Richard Hall and myself, Dr. Michael Lange. 1-877-969-8600. 1-877-969-8600. We're broadcasting awful early in Bakersfield, California, Tucson, Arizona, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and of course, Louisiana, my old stomping grounds. That's Shreveport and Alexandria. We're in Pensacola. We're in Wilkes-Barre. I actually called it Wilkes Bar, but it's Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Pennsylvania as well, and a variety of other networks. Give us a call if you got a question regarding your vision, eye care, or a nutritionally related topic. One more time, 1-877-969-8600. Doc called talking a little bit about, dilatory effects of nutrients to the, to the blood vessels, talking about producing nitric oxide and for working out. You being an expert in the area of sports fitness, we know the benefits of this, and that's one of the reasons we incorporated L-citrulline into our new Fortifeye Fit Ultimate Muscle Fuel. I'm holding it up on social media right now. So I just started thinking about it. Maybe first thing in the morning, I should be getting up a little earlier and getting a scoop of the Fortifeye Fit, shaking it up and drinking it down first thing in the morning, and then working out in the morning instead of later in the evening, or even 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, just taking a drink of this to boost that nitric oxide to maybe, just maybe, decrease the chance of us having one of these vascular events early in the morning. But plus, we're getting the muscle building nutrients first thing in the morning as well. What do you think?
I think there's some good promise to that, Dr. Lange. I really do. I do want to talk just a minute here on nitric oxide, and as bodybuilders, as athletes, weightlifters, and like that, we've used that for years. It's a vasodilator. It gives you that muscle pump. It gives you that good feeling like that, and it does bring more blood to the muscle. And of course, as a bodybuilder and as an athlete, that's what you want. However, I want to caution, and also Bob earlier there's a lot of pre and post workouts out there that you and I just, it makes hair grow on our heads. I mean, it's
Amen.
Crazy when we look at it. And in fact, that was one of the stimulants for us to create Fit. Was, I came to you and I said, I just can't put up with this stuff. I can't believe the stuff they're putting on the market. And so when you and I went in the lab, and of course, voila, a fast 3 years later, after research and testing, we brought out Fit. But I did want to caution Bob too, just to be careful of the selection of supplements that you take out there, because he was starting to give the ingredients, and I heard, green tea, and that leads to some caffeine and this and that. So a lot of stimulants sometimes they put in there, and you and I are totally against any stimulants like that at all. You don't need them, folks. So be real careful with that, what you're doing. And but as far as the early morning, I started doing that, Dr. Lange, about 6 months ago. I make this super concoction, as I call it. I put our protein in there, I put our superfoods in there, and our fit in the morning. That's my breakfast. As I've said many times, I don't have time to sit down. Mentally, I don't have time to sit down and eat breakfast. I've got one foot out the door the entire morning. I gotta go. And so I make a protein shake. And I drink a little bit here at the house, and the rest of it goes on the front seat of the car with me. And literally sometimes on the front seat of the car when I stop too quick and it spills over. But I put it in one of our protein shakers, and it has a spill-proof top on it if I remember to close it. And that's how I start my morning every morning. I have it sitting right here next to me to the microphone. Sitting right next to is my container of that concoction, as I call it, in the morning. So you might want to look into that, folks. I still believe, as a nutritionist, I still believe in the importance of breakfast. I hear a lot about fasting and intermittent fasting and things like that, and if it works for you, great. But I still believe in, you've gone on a fast. A lot of people think, well, should I fast? And well, you have been. If you eat dinner at 6 o'clock at night and then eat breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning, guess what, folks? You've been on a 14-hour fast. So, that's good enough for me. So that's why I eat my breakfast in the morning and stuff. So, but anyway, you might want to look into that. And I do think too, Dr. Lange, what you said, you and I are all about dosing. We tell patients and customers, if it says 3 times a day or 3 tablets or 3 whatever's a day capsules, break those up, meaning, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 towards the evening. I like that method because to me, it gives you an all over body dosing during almost really a 24-hour period all at once. However, I do agree and concur with you about taking any of the nitric like that to give you a real clinical dose. And but folks, be careful with these things. Read the labels. That's what I keep telling you. Read the labels on these and make sure. And as I talked a little bit here in just a minute or two about the different gluten rages that are going on, I encourage you to, again, read labels. Big article on our website about reading labels, and it kind of breaks out some of the, clears up the mud, as I will say. So, but back to you, Dr. Lange.
Okay, and once again, there's a new section on the Fortifeye.com website. You go to About Us, and then there's a blog section, and there's 2 new blogs that are posted. Those 2 ones are on omega-3, but we're going to be parlaying and transferring everything from the Dr. Michael Lange website over to this blog as well. So look at all the articles Dr. Hall and I have written at drmichaellange.com. Go to the blog section on there, and you'll see all the numerous articles that we've written over the years. All right, phone lines are open, 1-877-969-8600, 1-877-969-8600. I see somebody's been chiming in, asking me to hold up on the screen the nitrous oxide booster we were talking about. Well, it's actually Fortifeye Fit, okay? And a lot of you heard us talk about it. And Fortifeye Fit is the ultimate muscle fuel. So it was developed to use pre-workout and post-workout for athletes. And for anybody at any age, we also developed it for the elderly population, which we're all becoming part of now. And the Lange Institute in the Villages, my average age patient is 82 years of age. And as we get older, we develop something called sarcopenia, that is muscle wasting. Well, we've had some great success using Fortifeye Fit at helping to reduce the dreaded sarcopenia and muscle wasting, because this is a well thought out nutritional supplement, evidence-based, developed by doctors, studied and tested, and we're using the exact clinically studied amounts in Fortifeye Fit to produce energy from ATP, not from stimulants, to produce muscle and strength. And also it has a lot of good things to aid against neurodegeneration, aka dementia and Alzheimer's. So the astaxanthin, the L-citrulline, the creatine. So not only is this good at promoting muscle strength at any age, so if you're 10 or if you're 110, but also maybe some anti-aging effects for the heart, the brain, the eyes even. It's called Fortifeye Fit, the ultimate muscle fuel. Check it out at fortifeye.com. That's Fortifeye, fortifeye.com. If you go to the Fortifeye Fit bundle, it nets it down to like $33. You get 3 of them for $33 each. So check out the bundles, the bundle section on fortifeye.com. You get the best deals. Remember, we have free shipping for bundles also. We're getting ready to take the next call, but I'm going to give you some rapid fire before we go to the next call. Dr. Mike's rapid fire health tips. I'm going to go over these really quickly. This will stimulate some of you to think, why did he say that? Here we go. Number 1, don't eat carrots or sweet potatoes with your greens. I wonder why. There's a valid reason. Don't eat carrots or sweet potatoes with your dark green leafy vegetables. If you take only one supplement, take a good triglyceride or re-esterified triglyceride form omega-3 fish oil. Not a krill oil, not a squid, not flaxseed, and not phytoplankton. And I'll tell you why. Something like Fortifeye Super Omega or Super Omega 3 Max, backed by tons of clinical studies, not backed by hype. All right, one of the best diets out there, of course, I'm a little bit biased, the Lange Survival Diet. Google that, Lange Survival Diet. If you're going to eat seeds, make sure they're sprouted seeds. They don't have to be organic, but they got to be sprouted. Why sprouted, you may ask? If you're going to eat nuts, soak the nuts overnight, put a little lemon juice or a little apple cider vinegar. Remember, nuts and seeds are very high in phytic acid, also oxalates, even some lectins. So sprouting them or soaking them overnight decreases the anti-nutrients that can rip up your stomach and cause some potential health problems. If you're going to drink milk, drink goat's milk, or if you got to drink cow's milk, A2 cow's milk or Promised Land. That's because it's an A2 beta casein. Won't rip up your stomach the way other milks will. And if you don't believe me, read the book, Devil in the Milk. If you buy a whey protein from the local store, make sure it says grass-fed, non-denatured, and where the cows come from. Or you get our Fortifeye Super Protein. It's New Zealand grass-fed, non-denatured whey protein. What is the number one thing you can do for your health? Everybody knows this. If you've been listening to Dr. Hall and me, what is the number one thing you can do for your health? It's not taking a medication. It's not exercise, not sleep, not hydration. What's the number one thing? Weight management. Get down to your ideal body weight. So you got to become a lean, mean fighting machine, right? How much sleep do you need? 7 hours of sleep is ideal. How much water do you need? Half your body weight in ounces of water. If you weigh 100 pounds, you need 50 ounces of water, all right? What about sunshine? Everybody says it's bad for you. It ain't bad for you. It's actually good for you, as long as you're not an albino, all right? Or you're taking any medications or an autoimmune disease that makes you more light sensitive. 1/2 hour of sun a day, 15 minutes on the front, 15 minutes on the back without sunscreen, and you're going to get that valuable vitamin D and maybe some other things that are good for your health. Have an eye exam every 2 years and make sure your eyes are dilated. An eye exam was one of the best forms of prevention we have today. When the optometrist or ophthalmologist looks in your eyes, not only are they looking for the first signs of eye diseases like glaucoma, cataracts, and macular degeneration, but maybe even more importantly than that, some of the first signs of pending strokes, brain tumors, aneurysms, even collagen vascular diseases, thyroid diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes can actually show up in the eye. Make sure your eyes are dilated. What's the best dry eye drop on the market? The best dry eye drop on the market is Regenerize, bar none. That's my personal opinion. Regenerize. But what's the best artificial tear on the market? Either Oasis or Optase. Both of those, it's like Bentley or Rolls-Royce, Lamborghini or Ferrari. So I didn't say what is the best. So the best eye drop for dry eye is Regenerize, but the best artificial tear is Optase or Oasis. What's the difference? The Regenerize has stem cells in it. It's an artificial tear that has stem cells in it, so it's better for dry eye than Oasis or Optase. However, Does everybody need Regenerize? No. You might just need the Oasis or Optase. And finally, before we take the next call, what is the best meibomian gland treatment procedure you can get through your eye doctor? You know, there's 3 big ones out there, LipiFlow, iLux. The one that I think is the best, and it's the most cost-effective, it's by far the cheapest, and it actually works the best. I've done all 3, and it's made by Ocusoft. It's called Thermal One Touch. It's only $300. We do it at the Lange Eye Institute. Ask your doctor if you have really dry eyes and clogged meibomian glands to do the Ocusoft Thermal One Touch. All right, we're going to give you the phone numbers for Ask the Doctor, and we're going to go to the next call. 1-877-969-8600. Give us a call. Remember, consultation is free. This never replaces a medical evaluation or an eye evaluation. It's for educational purposes only. 1-877-969-8600. All right, let's go to Steve in Clearwater. Steve, good morning. Thanks for holding.
Yes, I wasn't able to find any information out about this on the internet because I don't think it's ever been done. But do you know of any time where they studied the interocular pressures of people when a hurricane passes over? Because there's a dramatic drop in atmospheric pressure that would counter the interocular pressure. So theoretically, has that been done?
It's interesting you bring that up because during Hurricane Katrina, in the eye of the storm, I had 25 patients and I was doing Goldman applanation tonometry on Fairfax Avenue to check their pressure.
Right.
Now, Steve,
That's
if you
fun.
believe that, I got some swampland in the bayou of right near Nolens. So, no,
Right.
I'm not sure. I was just messing with you. But I did go down for the relief effort the day after Hurricane Katrina. But you bring up a valuable point. Atmospheric pressure and will intraocular pressure change? We do know there is a diurnal change in intraocular pressure. Usually first thing in the morning, the pressure is a little higher. So oftentimes I have patients come different times during the day for their follow-ups, maybe 7:30 in the morning once, maybe 12:30, maybe 4:30. That way we can get a chart going to see when it's the highest and when it's the lowest. And that helps us determine if indeed what medication is best, because some medications work very quickly and some take 8 to 10 hours to take effect. So based on where their pressure is the highest, we can determine when they needed to use their drops. And also there's a really good study out there, multiple studies showing that there's a fairly natural way to bring intraocular pressure down. We know cardiovascular exercise, omega-3 fish oil, and vitamin C does bring pressure down, but also some newer studies that are pretty promising, and we're using this at the Lange Eye Institute now, shows that a supplement called mirtogenol, and mirtogenol is a combination of a specific form of bilberry and specific form of pine bark extract and a specific ratio can lower intraocular pressure by as much as 30% naturally. So oftentimes we use this with our glaucoma patients and glaucoma suspects, especially if we need to add more medication. Let's say hypothetically we're putting on a prostaglandin analog at nighttime and their pressure's still elevated. Instead of going to an alpha agonist or a beta blocker, we might put them on the mirtogenol and see if the pressure comes down. So there's some good natural ways to help high elevated pressure as well.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And one other thing, I know babies, women that are close to their due date, when a hurricane goes over, like during Hurricane Andrew, the hospitals were loaded with births. So the pressure does affect it. And are there any other, they actually looked at the structure of the flavonoids in mirtogenol and seen if there's any other flavonoids in other foods that would be comparable to that?
That's a good question. I don't know. Would OPCs be very similar? Would grapeseed extract and things of that nature be beneficial? That's a good question. I think this is kind of a new arena. Nutritional therapy for glaucoma is relatively new. I didn't believe it worked, so I tested it on patients, and sure enough, the mirtogenol does work. I put the same ratio into our Fortifeye Next Gen Complete Multivitamin Eye Vitamin. So not only is that beneficial for retina, but also for intraocular pressure now at a pretty cost-effective. But this is an area that's evolving, and more doctors are getting on this bandwagon. I mean, I'm a big advocate, Steve, of the least amount of medication, the least amount of surgery that gets the job done. God made a pretty good body as long as we treat it correctly and give it the right fuel. If we give it the right fuel and treat it correctly, it can survive. It can thrive instead of just survive. How's that?
Exactly. And one more thing very quickly. This is nothing to do with eyes, but I do recommend, being we have a hurricane coming, there's a very interesting article which I had a little bit to do with back 18 years ago. It's called Hyperdimensional Hurricanes. You can see it on the internet. Put in Hyperdimensional Hurricanes, the physics. Hyperdimensional Hurricanes, the physics.
Wow. I'll check that out later today. All right, Steve.
Okay. God bless you.
Thanks for the call. Doc, Steve always has some interesting questions. Hyper dimensional. All right. I'm going to write that one down. I got to research that bad boy. What do you think, Doc Hall? How'd you like, Steve didn't laugh when I said I was doing that during Hurricane Katrina, checking people's intraocular pressures.
Well, I honestly, I mean, you and I have been friends for decades, and I thought, gee, this is something I don't know about my best friend. That he's been standing out here in the eye of a hurricane, checking people's eye pressure. That's amazing. And what are you going to tell me next? That you actually surf the waves during a hurricane, or what are you doing?
Lake Pontchartrain. I was windsurfing during Katrina. Boy, it was a rush. Let me tell you, it was better than racing cars or mountain biking.
Absolutely. But yeah, we're kind of hunkering down for this. We're watching this hurricane and seeing what's going on with it. So folks, get your supplies early. Don't wait till that last day. And, kind of leisurely, don't make a run on it or like that. And remember, you don't need 100 gallons of water to survive for a day or two if your water goes down or like that. And I'm not a big fan of candles at all, because candles set fires. And, so kind of get those batteries up. If you have these little generators and like that, they're great. Keep your generator outside. Don't bring it into the garage. Don't bring it into the house. And all that stuff, folks. You're Floridians. You should know that by now. But be prepared, and let's go forward with it. Why I have the mic here, I'm going to talk just for about a minute and a half about this gluten-free diet. And I'm going to take it right from one of our text messages, and it says, Dr. Hall and Dr. Lange, should I go on a gluten-free diet? And what are the benefits? Are there any benefits? And folks, for the last few years, two of the most used buzzwords in the whole and the entire health and nutrition area are gluten-free. You see these words on bread wrappers, frozen food, pizza box. Okay, well, just about everything on the shelf. It drives me crazy, I'll be honest with you, when patients think a gluten-free diet regimen has some magic to it. And it does. If you have celiac disease or you have a gluten intolerance disorder, okay, those most definitely have an impact on your health. But if you don't, all right, it's not a big benefit otherwise. Now, I have people come to me and say, no, I don't have celiac. I'm not intolerant. I don't have gluten intolerance, but I feel better, doc, without the gluten. Great. Keep going. You're fine. Okay. But don't make this a part of your diet just because, your mailman's cousin's mother's brother does it. And, and it's the most wonderful thing in the world. Make this for you. Okay. Gluten's a protein, folks. It's found in wheat, barley, and rye. Whole wheat products contain essential nutrients that we need, all right, like B vitamins, and more important, fiber. You just won't believe the amount of people that come to me that have stomach disorders and things like that. And doc, I haven't gone to the bathroom in a while, and I'm constipated and this and that. And the first thing I do is I check their diet, and they're not getting enough fiber in, folks. They're just not. And you have to remember that fiber moves everything through the body. All right. And it adds bulk. As a kid, I always heard, my mom always talked about roughage. You got to get your roughage in, and there was truth to that because, roughage, like broccoli and cauliflower and things like that, I kind of imagine those going through, my bowel system and kind of, scraping everything and cleaning up everything. And it's not very pleasant if you're eating breakfast right now, folks. I apologize, but this is good stuff. It goes through your body and it cleans everything out. Fiber adds bulk to that same thing. Okay, you need bulk, folks, to make things work in your body. If you don't have enough fiber and you don't have enough water in your body, and those two work together, okay, the fiber and the water, they work together to create bulk. All right, you need those in your diet. Also, remember this: when they take the gluten out of foods, all right, they usually add something else in there, or maybe a couple of things.
Yep.
A lot of sugar, a lot of fat, a lot of fillers, okay? None of those things. So it's a trade-off, but it's not a good trade-off, folks, and you have to remember that, you want to if you're having problems with your bowels and of course constipation and your bathroom schedule, you need to bring that to attention of your healthcare professional. And but most likely, they're gonna, if it's gonna come back to diet and an adjustment like that, and you're not getting enough fiber in your diet, and people take the little fiber medications and stuff. They're great, but I prefer that you get it from whole foods. All right, it's much better because you're getting other nutrients in that, and it's much better for you. Now, real quick, how much fiber do I need, Dr. Hall? Women, you need 21 to 25 grams. Okay, very simple to get that much. It really is. Men, you need 30 to 38 grams. All right, again, pretty simple. There's a couple things. If you want to contact me, or maybe I'll put them on the website. There's a couple of things out there. They're wraps, and I use them every day, just about every day. And they just one wrap has like 80% of the fiber in it. It's amazing. And because of the high fiber, it knocks the carbs down to next to nothing. But anyway, folks, that's enough from me. And, if you're on gluten-free and it's working for you, stay the course. That's great. But you don't have to unless you have celiac or intolerance of gluten and a gluten intolerance. And so, just stay the path and you're doing well. Okay. Back to you, Dr. Lange.
Amen. Good words of advice. Also, some great gluten-free alternatives are quinoa, buckwheat, amaranth, and organic steel-cut oats. If you're going to eat oatmeal, got to be organic steel-cut oats. You got to soak them overnight. But soak the quinoa, the buckwheat, and the amaranth. Great fiber, and they're gluten-free, but they're all high in phytic acid. That's why you soak them overnight. Put a little lemon or a little apple cider vinegar in it. Soak it overnight. Pour off the water once during the night and soak it with clean, fresh spring water or distilled water, not the faucet water. So quinoa, buckwheat, amaranth, or steel-cut organic oats soaked overnight. Also, John is chiming in. John from Colorado. He's always chiming in on social media and talking about he's taking must-have leucine. I agree, for muscles, not necessarily nitric oxide. Absolutely. Leucine is critical for muscle development. It's one of the branch chain amino acids that, quite frankly, vegetarians or vegans are deficient in. So the gist of this story is if you're a vegan, take a good vegan branch chain amino acid supplement. Our Fortifeye Fit has a vegan branch chain amino acid mixture inside it, backed on the latest clinical studies. So not only do we have the nitric oxide precursor in Fortifeye Fit, we have the branch chain amino acids, the collagen protein, the beta-tannin hydrose also, along with astaxanthin, cluster dextrin, and a variety of other nutrients that work synergistically together. So once again, the ultimate muscle fuel for any age, called Fortifeye Fit. Check it out at fortifeye.com. Fortifeye, fortifeye.com. Thanks for timing in, John, in Colorado. Also, phone lines are open. We're going to take some more calls. 1-877-969-8600. 1-877-969-8600. When I was doing my rapid fire health tips, Dr. Mike's rapid fire health tips, one of the things I said was omega-3. If you only took one supplement, omega-3 that you buy over the counter, the lion's share of omega-3 you buy over the counter is an ethyl ester molecule. It won't say it on the bottle because they're not proud of it. An ethyl ester molecule is a very inexpensive, cheap way to make fish oil. You use ethanol in the distillation process. They leave the ethanol in it, okay? It has to go through your liver every day to cleave the ethanol off and replace a triglyceride backbone before it can absorb. Folks, fish do not have ethanol in them, all right? When you eat fish, it has a triglyceride backbone. So you want it as natural as possible. Our Fortifeye Super Omega and Fortifeye Super Omega 3 Max are two of the most potent re-esterified triglyceride form omega 3s made in Norway at the elite Norwegian factory that is amazing. This is the best fish oil team in the world. So it's distilled, it's purified, and then it goes through transesterification. So it replaces the ethanol with a triglyceride backbone. So what's that mean? It means it absorbs 3 times more readily. You get more of effect quicker. You don't get any of the nasty burp back. So it tastes good. It's got a nice lemon flavor, and you don't belch up anything. And you get the therapeutic amount that works. Remember, omega-3 is good for just about every aspect of your being. Go to healthbenefitsofomega3.com. You'll see all the latest science, the latest studies, healthbenefitsofomega3.com. You'll see if you're a diabetic, if you take a good triglyceride form omega-3 like Fortifeye Super Omega, Super Omega Max, it can reduce the chance of you going blind from diabetic retinopathy by 50%. If you want to slow down the potential for Alzheimer's later in life by almost 50%, a good omega-3 fish oil can do that. It can help you recover after you work out. It can reduce the chance of a fatal heart attack or a fatal stroke dramatically. It helps lower inflammation dramatically in the body by blocking the delta-5 desaturase enzyme that causes the whole inflammatory cascade of the series 2 prostaglandins. So omega-3 is good for arthritics, good for pain, good for circulation, good for keeping you above ground a little bit longer. There's also a study showing that you will live an extra 5 to 6 years if you have higher amounts of omega-3 in your body. But remember, most omega-3 you buy over the counter. This is where I'm going to, negate phytoplankton. Everybody's saying phytoplankton is hot. Well, there's a lot of multi-level pyramid schemes trying to push phytoplankton right now. Be very careful. Remember, look at labels. Dr. Hall always says, read labels. Read the label and see how much EPA and DHA is in it, how much omega-3 is in it. Phytoplankton supplements, they don't even tell you how much omega-3 is in it because there's not hardly in it. I saw one, it had 60 milligrams of omega-3 and they didn't divide into EPA and DHA. Similar to krill oil, krill doesn't have hardly any omega-3 in it. So you remember, you want between 2,400 milligrams of omega-3 based on your weight and disease entity. It's a rule of thumb, less than 200 pounds, Fortifeye Super Omega 2 times a day. Over 200 pounds, Fortifeye Super Omega-3 Max 2 times a day, and you're good to go. Anyway, look at the science. Check everything out on our website at fortifeye.com, Fortifeye, fortifeye.com. In my personal opinion, there's only 3 good triglyceride form omega-3s on the market. Fortifeye obviously being one of them. I'm biased, of course, but we're the cheapest and the most potent. So think about it. Do yourself a favor, start taking a good omega-3. All right, we're going to the phones. I think it's Mimi and Dunellen. Mimi, good morning.
Hi, that's Dunellen, doctor.
Dunellen. All right. How are you?
Yes, sir. And thank you for taking my call. This doesn't have anything to do with eyes or vision, but I was having a lot of pain in my right shoulder under the shoulder blade. And my primary care doctor took x-rays and it shows bone on bone in my shoulder. I was wondering about, I don't want to have surgery if I can help it. But the pain isn't constant, and I was wondering if there are any supplements that would help with the cartilage.
Right. So I am glad you asked. We're running out of time. But there is a product we developed recently called Omega Relief. All right, Fortifeye Omega Relief. Check it out at fortifeye.com, or you call Arlene at Fortifeye. And what it is, it's our omega-3, super omega-3 fish oil with our next-gen curcumin. And the combination of those, there's some great studies, and the studies are on the website showing for osteoarthritis, for inflammation and pain, it works really, really well. So it's a natural alternative to any medical treatment. has nothing negative that's going to harm you. I have many testimonials from many patients that are at the exact situation as you, including me. I have bone on my right knee, and it's helped me dramatically. So it's worth a shot. It works relatively quickly. It's called Omega Relief. It's $50 for Omega Relief. You get 60 triglyceride form omega-3s and 30 next-gen curcumins. Try it. With that, we're out of time. Doc Hall, we got 18 seconds.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. We're glad you're with us. I want you to have a great day today, okay? Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. See you next week.
Thank you. And remember, check it out, Omega Relief at Fortifeye.com. That's Fortifeye. With that, I'm out of here. God bless you, and God bless our great country, America.
Ask the Doctor with Michael Lange begins in 5 minutes.